All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. August 29th, we got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about either plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. Yesterday, kind of a moot point. Yes, we lose a little bit off the top. We end up going 2-2 with our plays. The Cubs and Giants, if we just didn't partake in that game, would have had a nice little day there as Montserio comes through with a hit, as well as that three-leg parlay that we threw together. Speaking of parlays, we do a parlay video each and every day over on the second channel on More Guy Boston Sports, so make sure to check that out. We've now cashed in 3 of the last 4 days of like a plus 250 and beyond parlay. So More Guy Boston Sports, our second channel. But like I said, Cubs, they don't come through for the money line, and then that Nerfy in the same game does not come through. What I will say comes through is the ride of the day, pumping some crowd noise for Hunter. Had Alex Bohm here over 1.5 total bases, 4+ money. I mean, what a Phillies offensive performance. When I said in yesterday's video I liked the Phillies offensive spot yesterday, I didn't know they were going to put up nearly 20 runs. Schwarber was going to hit 4 dingers. Like, what an absolute game from them. But Alex Bohm had 2 total bases, just what the doctor orders, just what we needed for the ride of the day. Now, if you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. You just use the hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. We jump on board, you can see here, with one person's play each and every day, and we track you, give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride of your plays, and you can build a nice little streak there. If you lose, you still get the shout out, but unfortunately, we are talking about a loss, and you got to face the womp womp on the soundboard. But one last thing to talk about, guys, before we do go ahead and dive into today's slate. Tassos and I just posted our first episode of Season 3, the 3rd year we're doing this, of H2H, the show in which you compete against one another in the NFL season. Really, really fun. Very, very unique. We spin a wheel that dictates the category that we actually partake in and stuff like that. So go ahead and check it out, guys. That is posted on the channel right now. But all right, all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into today's slate. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking here. First game up is going to be the Reds and the Cardinals here. Reds coming off of a sweep of a series reversal. They got swept by the Dodgers. St. Louis coming off of splitting a 4-game series against Pittsburgh. On the mound today for the Reds is going to be Zach Littell. He's been really good this year. Very, very consistent, very serviceable. 1.8 ERA over his last 5 starts. Going up against Matthew Liberatore, who I don't think you could say exactly the same thing other than maybe consistent. He's kind of turned into 5 innings, 3-year earned runs or so. I do think that this Reds team comes out a little fiery after getting swept by the Dodgers. In a game, a couple of those games actually, in which they left a ton of guys on base. So you look at it and you say, okay, well, you know, in that game they had 0 runs, 3 runs, and 1 run scored. They could have easily scored a lot more runs. So I do think that maybe their offense comes around a little bit here against Liberatore. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs. That's not exactly a great Reds pitch, but he also throws a lot of sliders, and the Reds a top 5 team at hitting the slider as of right now. So give me the Reds as well as their team total over in this spot. The one thing that I would say about a true, total, whether it's over or under for the full game, I probably think that St. Louis can score some runs here as well. Don't absolutely love that Reds bullpen, and throw in the fact that Littell's best pitches are the splitter and the slider. Those are actually the only 2 pitches that the Cardinals are hitting right now. So this may be a spot in which some runs come in. Obviously, it's in Great American Ballpark as well. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards Reds and their team total over, but I wouldn't hate if someone was like, hey, Ev, I like the idea of the full game over in this spot as well. All right, next up, we have the Phillies taking on the Braves. We already kind of talked about this when we recapped. The Phillies absolutely went off yesterday. 19-4 was that final score. So good for the Phillies after, getting swept by the Mets. I said that they were going to come out fired up. I did not think that they were going to come out that fired up to be home. Today on the mound for them is going to be Ranger Suarez. He's been good over his last couple starts. In fact, his last start was phenomenal. 7 innings pitched. It was against Washington, but 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 11 strikeouts. He's going up against Bryce Elder, who Bryce Elder has 2 of his last 3 starts that look okay, but he has some real tough numbers against this Phillies squad. He hasn't pitched into the 5th inning in 3 starts dating back 2 years against this Phillies team. Last time you saw them was, just about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. 2 innings, 8 hits, 10 runs came in, 9 of them being earned, 3 home runs. So for me, how can we not look past the Phillies in this spot? Looks like we're also going to have some decent weather there in Citizens Bank Park as well. So, yeah, it's going to be an easy spot for me. I don't know if we can get there because I do think that we're paying a lot of a tax and a juice for these plays. But the Phillies and their team total over are 2 things that I just can't look past today. I think Ranger Suarez will be able to hang in there with this team as well. But I will throw in the fact that this Atlanta team does hit lefties fairly well. But the sinker, the changeup, the cutter, his main pitches, it's not exactly their best ones. They're more of a slider and curveball hitting team at the current moment. So yeah, Phillies, I would trust them to score some runs versus throwing in Atlanta as well. But much like we just talked about with the Cards and the Reds game, I guess if I had a gun to my head and had to pick whether the full game would be total over or under, I probably would still lean towards the over slightly, just because this Phillies bullpen has actually been allowing a lot of runs lately. They've already dropped season ranks now into the bottom, I believe it's like bottom 6 in the league in terms of ERA, so not exactly the best, but ultimately I think it's going to be a Phillies game in which they are in control. So give me the Phillies and their team total over. I'm just waiting to see what this price does because I'd love to be able to get a Phillies money line, even if we have to pay a little bit of juice. So right now, minus 190-ish, that's too much juice. Hey, real quick, guys, before we do continue on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you guys about Chalkboard. Like I've been telling you, they have an unbeatable deal right now. It's literally a no-brainer. If you sign up today using code GUYBOSSON, I'll have a link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment, 2 places to get it. Sign up using code GUYBOSSON, you get $20 just for signing up. This is not a deposit bonus or a deposit match or anything like that. No, you don't even need to deposit, and you just sign up and get $20. So if your state is highlighted in green, get on Chalkboard. If you like player props, it's an absolute no-brainer. They also actually now have game picks included where you can pick the team to win as well as the total in the game, which is super unique, super cool for these DFS apps. So go check it out. Again, that link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. I'm literally saying, hey, there's $20 on the ground. Are you going to go pick it up? You make that decision. Link down below. Let's get back to these games. All right, next up we have the Nationals taking on the Rays. Nationals have Mitchell Parker on the mound, who is obviously just a ticking time bomb anytime he goes out there to pitch. His last few starts, really dreadful. 5 earned in 5 against Kansas City, 5 earned in 1 2/3 against Philadelphia, and then he went up against, I think it was Philadelphia again, and allowed 6 earned. Now, he's going up against Adrian Hauser, who really hasn't been all that great. I think he has like 1 out of 4 good starts since joining the Rays, and he does really struggle against lefties, which if you know anything about this Washington squad, their power comes from the left side, and today that's going to be James Wood, CJ Abrams, Josh Bell, who's a switcher, is going to be batting from the left side. So I don't necessarily love the idea of backing Adrian Hauser whatsoever. You can even see via our dashboard here, Adrian Hauser, yeah, his numbers look okay, but he's not good on the road. He's not good against lefties. He throws the sinker. That's a top 10 pitch for Washington. So yeah, for me in this spot, I do think that Washington's probably what we ultimately end up looking at, especially for the plus money. I think that they can put up a decent, score today. I also wouldn't mind the over though, because again, Mitchell Parker is on the other side of things. So if Washington can do their job, I don't even care who is the opposition to Mitchell Parker. He's probably going to allow some runs, and then throw in the fact that we have the Washington bullpen there as well. I do think that we could see an over 8.5. Now, there's some 8.5s out there. That's what I like. If you only have 9, maybe still, take a shot at it, but 8.5 is probably what I'm looking at. But I do think that I'd get to the Nationals before considering the over. Now, from a player prop perspective, I do like James Wood. We're going to see a ton of sinkers, 46.6%. And again, that is in our dashboard, which I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit. Actually, right after this game, I'll talk to you a little bit more about the dashboard. But you can see here, the sinker is the main pitch. 46.6% of the time Hauser throws that pitch. James Wood hits that splitter really, really well. James Wood's starting to put things together. Hopefully, the fact that he's going up against a righty isn't going to crush us, because I do like his over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs as well. So yeah, as weird of a matchup as this is, there are like 3 plays that I'm actually strongly considering in this spot. Nationals, the over, and then Wood, some player props surrounding him. So they're probably ranked in that order of how I like them, Nationals, over, and Wood. But nonetheless, kind of weird that we have 2 meh or bad teams, and I'm like, we may have like 3 plays in this one. It's funny how that works. Like I said, guys, I tell you about the dashboard here. So this is our MLB dashboard found over on GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area and sign up to the MLB dashboard. Now, I'll also throw in the fact that, hey, look at this. The NFL dashboard is now there as well. Really cool, guys, for this week only, right? If you already have an MLB dashboard, you have access to our NFL dashboard, which this is using last year's data, but look at how freaking amazing this thing looks. This is an absolute beast. It took a long time to build, but the NFL dashboard, the beta version at least of it, is now here each and every game, each and every week. If you have an MLB dashboard, right, you have access to that for free. It'll be found in the members area. But if you don't, that's all right, guys. You can sign up for either an all sports membership or an NFL dashboard membership or an MLB dashboard membership if you want to hop on. We now have the 3 memberships available now that NFL is coming around. So yeah, go ahead and check it out again. GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area. Again, if you're an active MLB, you get the dashboard on the NFL side for free for a week or so. This thing is an absolute beast. I'm so excited for the NFL season and to use this. But just wanted to shout that out, guys. Let's get back to these games now. All right, Blue Jays taking on the Brewers here. Toronto coming off of a winning series against Minnesota. They had the day off yesterday, but they took 2 of 3 there. Milwaukee lose, I think it was a 4-game series, right? So they split 2-2. They lose 2, they win 2 against Arizona. They played yesterday. Today on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be Shane Bieber, who only has the 1 start under his belt, which was last week, and it was pretty damn good against Miami. 2 hits, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts, 0 walks, and that 1 earned just came from a bad pitch. It was a solo home run. Freddie Peralta on the other side of things, he hasn't let up a run in 3 starts. Prior to that, his start there, 1 run over 5 innings against Atlanta. So 2 decent pitching options here on the mound. That being said, though they're small sample sizes, they don't have the best of numbers against the current rosters on either side. Freddie Peralta's going to hum fastball in there. That's probably a decent pitch against this Toronto squad. So for me, I do think that, you know, it's worth taking a shot in terms of that plus money on the Brewers. But what I actually think I get down myself in terms of what I like a little bit more is the idea of an over 7.5. Yes, you have 2 good pitchers. Yes, you have 2 serviceable bullpens, but we can't forget that these are 2 of the better offenses. I know the Brewers have been a little bit cold, but even still, the Blue Jays being involved in a 7.5 total game makes it really enticing to take a peek at the over, right? So I do think that Bieber is obviously a very good pitcher. He was pitching well even before, like last year in a sense, and then he comes back and just picks up right where he left off. I get it, but to me, I just think that 7.5, like we could see a 4-3 game floor and 1 run comes in incidentally or somewhere throughout the game, right? And that's only 8 runs, yet it didn't even seem like a high-scoring game, whereas I do think that we could even see one of these offenses do really well. I mean, throw in the fact that Freddie Peralta is on the road. He definitely doesn't have the same numbers on the road as he does at home this year. And, the fact that we're going to see a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders out of Bieber, 2 of the pitches that this Milwaukee team's absolutely crushing in the last 30 days. I do think that this could be a spot for an over. I also like Alejandro Kirk to get a hit today. We have a good pitch mix rating for him, and it really just comes down to the fact that, he's going to see fastball and changeup right overall for the first 2 pitches, right? Fastball 55% of the time, then changeup 20.5. So 70.5% of the time, he's going to see 75.5% of the time, he's going to see a pitch that he really likes, and obviously a very good hitter. Now, you're paying a little juice, -160 right now. I wouldn't play it past that. He does have, I believe, 5 hits in his last 4 games, so maybe Kirk is a good look. But that over is definitely really enticing. I think at least one of these offenses does well today. All right, Red Sox, Pirates. We have Peyton Toll on the mound, or Tolley on the mound for the Red Sox. He's actually their number 1 pitching prospect coming up. He's going up against Paul Skeens, so should have 2 good pitchers on the mound here today, right? Paul Skeens, obviously don't need to say too much about him. He's got some ridiculous numbers. I will say they regress a little bit on the road, and they don't pitch him deep into games on the road. But still, it's Paul freaking Skeens. And then Toll, again, should be pretty damn good. So I think that this is going to be a spot in which I would say, yeah, the Red Sox are the better offense, so I'll lean towards the Sox. But what I actually think I get down to maybe one of my favorite spots today is that first 3 under 2.5. If we see a good game out of Toll, then great, but don't we like the idea of him at least, being obviously a very, very good prospect and having 1 time through the order, and that 1 time through the order is going to be against an offense like the Pirates? Seems like it's a decent spot for him, right? Now, on the season so far in AAA, now he's kind of climbed the ranks really, really quickly, so he only has, I think, 3 or 4 AAA starts, .87 whip. In AA, .74 whip. I think it was right around a 1 whip in single A. So obviously this kid is highly touted, and he pitches, at least in the minors, about 5 innings. And like I said, really good numbers. So hopefully one time through the order would be the look. But yeah, I think you're getting a good price because, again, let's throw in the fact that you still have Paul Skeens on the other side. We're focusing on total here. It's like getting an under 2.5 in the first 3 for Paul Skeens should be like clockwork, right? So hopefully he gets this Red Sox team out early. I will say he throws a lot of fastballs. We know that. The Red Sox do hit the fastball really well, but this is a Paul Skeens fastball, a little bit different. So under 2.5 in that first 3 innings is what I'm looking at. Also, living in the Boston area, guys, it's pretty rainy out and crappy out. Hopefully this game goes, and maybe we do get through those first 3 innings, but maybe that rain ultimately ends up helping, right? Not a lot of offense. I do think this is a good spot for the new kid to come up, but at the same time, now that I say the rain, kind of stinks to make your debut in some, gross weather, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring one ultimately. Real quick, guys, and I know that we're talking about a lot of things and promoting a lot, but we do have a ton going on the channel. So wanted to let you know that our NFL Survivor Pool is still open right now. I believe we have about 75 people in there. If we fill this bad boy up, you could turn $10 into $3,000 or nearly $3,000. So go ahead and check it out. $10 to enter. You can enter up to 5 different times. If you guys don't know what a Survivor contest is, it's simple. Each and every week, you try to pick a winner in the NFL. Just a winner, right? If I like the Patriots in week 1 and they win, great. I move on to week number 2. The catch is I wouldn't be able to take the Patriots again for the rest of the season. Once you use a team, they are done. So it takes a lot of strategy, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. Go check it out, guys. That link will be down in the description. Join the NFL Survivor Pool today. Again, if we fill this bad boy up, 300 maximum, nearly $3,000 is going to the winner. Imagine turning $10 into $3,000. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Let's get back to the show. Guardians taking on the Mariners here. Guardians coming off of a series in which they played Tampa Bay, and they did win 2 of 3. Prior to that, though, they had looked really, really rough, so they still only won 3 of their last 10 games. Seattle, coming off a winning series against San Diego, they've only won 4 of the last 10 games, so I don't think either one of these ball clubs is playing their best baseball. Definitely not, offensively on the Cleveland side of things. Today, we have Logan Allen on the mound, which both these pitchers, George Kirby, his opposition, both these pitchers have actually had, for the majority of their last 5 starts, good outings. Logan Allen was looking pretty damn solid, and then he got blown up by Texas. George Kirby, on the other side of things, has looked really, really solid, but got blown up by the Mets 2 starts ago. So I'm kind of conflicted as to where to go with this one, but I do think Cleveland's offense is a worry to me still, so I'm going to lean Mariners in this spot. I also don't mind the first 5 under. You have 2 squads that just do not seem to hit the hand well. Cleveland not hitting anyone well, but not hitting the righties well right now. And then the Mariners, I don't think that their offense is firing on all cylinders. They're going to see a lot of, sliders and fastballs and cutters. I think those are good pitches from Logan Allen, and they're ranked just 25th, 217 average last 30 days against the left hand. I will throw in the fact that, there is a decent, they have some decent power numbers against lefties, but nonetheless, still going to be a spot in which I consider an under, first 5 under. So I think the Mariners probably have somewhat of an upper hand here with George Kirby. He does struggle against lefties. I'll throw that in there. A lot of lefties in this Cleveland lineup. So, hey, maybe that's a reason why you don't like the under. But the Mariners in the first 5 under 4.5, probably the only things that I'm considering in this one. Mets taking on the Marlins. Marlins coming off that win yesterday, 7-4. Today they have a Yuri Perez on the mound, so that's going to be great for them, right? He's obviously a very good pitcher. And then Yona Tong on the mound for the Mets, who is making his big league debut coming up from AAA. And get this, I think they already announced, either the manager or something like that, I think it was the president of baseball operations, Stearns, right? He said, we're trying not to plan too far ahead, and they're not guaranteeing him a second start. Imagine making your big league debut and they're like, hey, it's probably just 1 start. We're not guaranteeing you anything after this. Tough look there. It's like, we have no confidence in your actual body of work, but we just need you to make a start right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into that, but nonetheless, I do hate the fact that the Marlins won yesterday, because to me, it's another spot for them. Yuri Perez is obviously a very good pitcher. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs and sliders. Hopefully that slider works today, because that's going to be the pitch to get the Mets. But what I will say is, young pitcher on the Mets side, I think the Marlins can score some runs, right? And he is a righty. Throw in the fact that you have Yuri Perez out there. I think that he should be able to, pitch well until the Mets kind of get him, and he hums fastball in there a lot as well. the Mets a team that hit the fastball. I think at least some runs come in. And throw in the fact that the Marlins bullpen does kind of stink. The Mets aren't all that great either, but the Marlins bullpen does kind of stink, and a lot of guys went yesterday as well. So, yeah, this is probably a spot in which I consider an over 8. Maybe if you can even snag it at 7.5, keep an eye on that price. But if the Marlins hadn't won yesterday, I probably would actually be looking to back them today. I just don't know if they took two. I don't know if they take 2 in a row against the Mets. You know what I mean? Like, this Mets team has been playing some really good baseball. White Sox taking on the Yankees. Yesterday, the Yankees won this one 10-4. That helped out our parlay that we do over on the second channel. Carlos Rodon's on the mound for the Yankees today. He's going up against Yoendrys Gomez, who only has a couple, I think 3 starts under his belt. We have that up right here. Yeah, 3 starts under his belt this season. All in August, so pretty damn recent, right? 25-year-old. He does have some decent numbers. 1.3 ERA, averaging almost 6 strikeouts per game. He is... I don't know if he has a walk problem, but his last start he walked 3 guys against Minnesota, which is kind of a tall task. But anyways, Rodon's been pitching fairly well, right? He's got a 2.2 ERA over his last 5 starts. I do like him on the road. To me, this is probably a Yankees spot if you can get somewhat of a good price. Maybe Yankees run line, because they are going to have all 9 at bats, so maybe Yankees team total as well. But I don't mind the idea of an over, especially if you can get it at 8.5. There's a lot of 9s hung out there, and I think that that's the direction everything's moving in. But Gomez, I don't fully trust. We're going to see a lot of fastballs out of him. Yankees number 3 team in baseball right now hitting the fastball. And then on the other side of things, you know, Carlos Rodon is really good against lefties, but does have some struggles here against righties, and he's a lefty. There's 2 switch hitters in the lineup. So mainly, I think we're going to have like 7 righties in the Chicago lineup, including switch hitters from the right side. So maybe there's some runs that come out of Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a game just like we saw yesterday. High scoring. And, you know, the Yankees carry the bulk of the workload, but the White Sox kind of contribute to some degree. So give me the Yankees as well as the over. A little bonus player prop. I didn't even put it on the screen because I'm kind of conflicted here. Giancarlo Stanton, I know that he didn't do all that great. Was it yesterday? Yeah. But he's still hitting the fastball and slider really well. And those are Yoendrys Gomez's 2 pitches, the fastball and the slider. So I think Stanton could have a decent game as well today. Next up, we have the Astros taking on the Angels. Astros coming off a series against Colorado, and I bet they wish they could get Game 1 back, but they do win Game 2 and 3, so they won the series. Angels lose 2 of 3 against Texas. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games, including, I believe, 5 of their last 6. On the mound for them is going to be Tyler Anderson. Not exactly a guy that I want to back, and Christian Javier on the bump for Houston. Now, I'll tell you, I do lean Houston as well as their team total over. But the worry that I have with Christian Javier is that since coming back, he has 3 starts under his belt, and he really hasn't pitched deep into games. 5 innings, 3 innings, and 2 innings. This is a fairly taxed Houston bullpen right now. You could see here over the last few days, plenty of their bullpen arms went via our dashboard, right? So I do think that Javier pitching deep into the game is going to be kind of instrumental in terms of the Astros doing their thing. So maybe the team total over 4.5. There's a pivot that you don't have to worry about pitching. Just go score runs off Tyler Anderson, because I don't mind that. Tyler Anderson's numbers against his Astros team, not very good, and a lot of a sample size, a big sample size here. 152 plate appearances against, 292 average against, expected slugging 440. Walk rate, not that great, you know, in terms of for the Astros, but 6%, so pretty good for him. Strikeout rate, 20%. But again, a WOBA 360, average against 290. I think that this is a decent spot for the Astros to score some runs, and their offense hasn't looked all that great, so maybe this is just what they need, right? But right now, let's see if I can get an updated line for us here to see what we're looking at in terms of a team total over. 4.5 would cost you -125. Again, this Astros team has not been crushing that, but maybe that's the way to go if you don't trust Christian Javier to pitch deep into his outing here, because again, that bullpen, even though it's a really good bullpen, pretty damn taxed. Royals taking on the Tigers. I don't love this matchup, to be completely honest. You have Seth Lugo on the bump for the Royals. He's been anything but good, really. I mean, he's got a 4.6 ERA over his last 5 starts, just as many walks as he does strikeouts, allowing, you know, over 6 hits per game, not pitching into the 6th. I think he's barely pitching into the 5th. Chris Paddock is on the other side of things. He's been really hit or miss. I think the Tigers get to Lugo to some degree, but again, not exactly my favorite spot. I think I look at the Tigers just because you are getting a decent price behind them, but also a peek at maybe the over 9 or over 8.5 you can get it. I don't want to sit here and act like I think Chris Paddock's going to pitch an absolutely great game. This Royals offense, I think, is starting to put some things together. I mean, their last few games here, they've gone 5+ in 3 of their last 4 and 10+ in 2 of their last 4, 2 of those 3. So yeah, I think that this is probably a spot in which some runs come in. I don't know if I get there myself on either the Tigers or the over, but that's what I would consider if we were to dig in this a little bit more. It's just not my favorite matchup today, to be completely honest. All right, next up we have the Twins taking on the Padres. Zebby Matthews on the mound for the Twins, going up against Nestor Cortez. I've kind of gone back and forth in this one, and ultimately I do end up leaning towards the Padres. I think they're the better baseball team. Coming off of a losing series against Seattle, maybe they are a little fired up here. They were playing some good baseball before that. Now, Cortez is a little bit of a concern, I guess we could say. In his 4 starts so far with the Padres, he's been kind of inconsistent now. He's coming off a really good one, and it was against the Dodgers. 6 in the third, 6 innings pitch actually, 1 hit, 0 earned, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Maybe he pieces some of that together again and looks pretty good out here against Zebby Matthews, who Zebby Matthews hasn't looked bad. I don't really want to sit here and say that that's the reason that I'm fading the Twins, but their offense isn't that, you know what I mean? Their offense is not all that good. And if we give Cortez a little credit here, he's been pretty good against righties this season comparatively to lefties. And there's a ton of righties in this Minnesota lineup, especially the bats that will actually hurt you. So Padres is probably the spot. If you don't trust Cortez, maybe it's just a pivot to San Diego team total over. They've been scoring a decent amount of runs. 6 of their last 10 and 3 of their last 5, they've had at least 5 runs scored. So that's where I'd look in this one. Not exactly a true fade of Zebby Matthews, though. It's more so I don't think this Twins team cares anymore, to be completely honest. Rockies taking on the Cubs. The Cubs got swept by the Giants. 3 games there. Colorado at least took 1 of 2 against Houston. On the bump for the Cubs today is going to be Cade Horton. He's going up against German Marquez, who obviously is not a very good pitcher overall. I think that we do see some runs at least on the Cubs side of things, but Cade Horton, is going to throw a fastball. That's a pitch that doesn't fully get affected as much as some hanging pitches or off-speed pitches does in Coors. So I think it's going to be Cubs maybe as a parlay piece, or just taking a peek at their team total over, or pivoting to a Rockies team total under. I do think there's a chance of precipitation in Coors today, so maybe it's not going to be as many runs as normal if the rain's knocking it down and whatnot. So this is kind of a wonky matchup. But yeah, Cubs may be a parlay piece. I do think that after getting swept by the Giants, they may take it to the Rockies today. I know that, you're paying a pretty big price tag to get their team total over. Right now, because that total's all the way up at 11, the Cubs run line is, the Cubs team total would be 5.5 or 6.5. Depending on the juice you want to pay. So pretty damn expensive, like I said. But maybe a Rockies under, 5.5 or under 4.5 could be somewhat of a look. But obviously, Core is kind of making the prices on these things, like I said, a little wonky. A's taking on the Rangers. Here's A's coming off of a really good series, and I mean really good. They performed offensively, and they beat a team that most likely, I would say, is better than them, right? The Tigers, they swept them. Texas coming off a great game. 20 runs scored against the the Angels. The game before that, they scored 7. The game before that, they did score 0, but this is a pretty good Texas offensive output over the last, I would say week and a half, 2 weeks or so. So give him a little bit of credit there. On the mound for the A's today, though, is going to be Jeffrey Springs, left-hander. Texas has been hitting lefties well, FYI. Going up against Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter has struggled on the road. He struggled against righties. Decent amount of righties in this A's lineup. So I do think that Rangers are worth somewhat of a look, especially for the plus money. They have the better bullpen, an offense that is playing well. So I like the Rangers for the plus money. Don't mind the idea of the over in this spot, especially if we can maybe find a 9.5. I don't know if any of those exist out there, but would love to get that and not have to worry about the push potential. And then 2 player props on the Texas side of things. I like Langford. I think that he has a really good pitch mix. He's batting really well against lefties lately, and Jeffrey Springs being a lefty, and then Jacob Wilson on the A's side of things, same thing. He's batting really well against righties. Jack Leiter being a righty, and throw in the fact that he's got a really good pitch mix rating against the pitches that he'll see as well. So multiple options for plays in this spot. Maybe we can get a little creative and say, hey, what about a hit parlay between Langford and Wilson? Don't necessarily mind that. Keep an eye on the final plays. I do think that we could see plenty of plays in this game. Much like we talked about earlier, where it's like the Rays and the Rays and the I couldn't even think of the team. The Rays and the Nationals, where I was like, oh, we got some plays that we like in this one, even though it's a weird matchup. This is similar. Like Texas and the Athletics, like not exactly the best matchup, but honestly kind of like our looks in it. So keep an eye on the final plays to see if or what we end up rolling with in this one. Dodgers taking on the Diamondbacks here. Dodgers coming off of a sweeping series against Cincinnati, 7-0, 6-3, 5-1. Dodgers offense back, question mark? We'll see. Arizona coming off of taking the last two against Milwaukee, splitting that series 2-2. Today on the mound for the Dodgers is going to be Blake Snell. Obviously a really good pitcher, but his road numbers this year, and obviously it's not the biggest of sample sizes, have been a little iffy. Now he's kind of rounded back into form, so let's give him some credit there, right? His last two road starts against, I believe it was the Padres and Toronto, two decent offenses, looked really, really good. So not too much of a concern there for me. But Zach Gallen on the other side of things, don't look now. The minute we put Zach Gallen on the DMB graveyard, which it's Adele, Zach Gallen, and then Danby Swanson, Zach Gallen's actually been looking all right. He's got a 2-flat ERA over his last 5 starts, pitching nearly, 6 innings per start, 5 hits a game, less than a home run, averaging, I think not too many strikeouts, but not too many walks either. That said, I still think this is the Dodgers spot. If the Dodgers just get hot or start to heat up, they're the best team in baseball, right, with that talent. So Dodgers -1 in this spot, maybe an over 8.5 if we want to give a little bit of credit to this Arizona offense, and the Dodgers bullpen, definitely known to be able to blow a game or allow some runs. Same thing with Arizona, right? But if we really want to trim the fat and just cut everything out, maybe it's a team total overplay for the Dodgers. Even if Zach Gallen pitches well, this is a real bad bullpen on the Arizona side of things. So I could see the Dodgers, having 2 runs through maybe 6 innings, and then getting a few more late in the game, something like that. So Dodgers, the over, but also, again, kind of the hybrid of those two, would just be taking a peek at the Dodgers team total over. So that's definitely up for consideration today. All right, before we get to the last game, guys, go ahead and comment 30 if you made it this far into the video. Truly do appreciate you if you did spend a half hour with me listening to this annoying voice. Really do appreciate it. Go ahead and comment 30. And I love the, we haven't talked about it in a while, but why I do these, the comment, the number and stuff like that, is I love the people that come in and go, why is everyone commenting 30? And it's like, if you know, you know. So go ahead and comment. It obviously means a little bit more to me than you might think, because it tells me that you made it this far in the video, that you listened to me and all that, even though to you it's like, yeah, I'm just commenting a number, right? Really do appreciate it, guys. But let's dive into this last game. We got San Fran taking on the O's. San Fran coming off of sweeping the Cubs. They've won 5 straight games. Baltimore losing 4 straight against the Red Sox. Robbie Ray's on the bump, and obviously he's a good pitcher. He's been a little sporadic lately, but even still pretty damn good. Dean Kramer, who's been all over the place, he's coming off a really bad start against Houston. I think it was 7 runs or 6 or 7 runs through, I think it was 4 or 5 innings. To me in this spot, though, a hungry dog, runs fast, or whatever the saying is. Orioles losing 4 straight games. The Giants winning 5 straight games. It just seems like both teams are due to kind of flop or flip to some degree, right? Like, I don't believe in the San Fran team. I don't think they're very good. So the fact that they've won 5, in my dumb brain, it's like, oh, well, they're due for a loss, right? And then the Orioles were just starting to play decent baseball. Like, yes, they lost that series against the Astros, but in 2 of those games, they scored 8 and 7 runs, and then they win the 4th game, only ultimately to just get swept by the Red Sox in 4 games. They must be pissed. Now, I'm also looking at that over 7.5. Am I truly fading Robbie Ray, truly fading Kramer? I guess I'm looking at their numbers against the current lineups, and you can even see here, Dean Kramer, not all that great in terms of his numbers against the current roster, and then only in 15 plate appearances against, but still, this is the spot in which, Robbie Ray may not be at his best. Throw in the fact that Baltimore's not terrible against lefties, and they've been hitting fastballs really well, too. You can see here, there's a lot of fastballs, and some of the better bats, Henderson, Mountcastle, Jeremiah Jackson, Jackson Holiday, they hit the slider well. That's the number 2 pitch there for Robbie Ray. So I do think that we could see some runs in this game. I don't think that either offense is a powerhouse. I'm not saying that, but to me, 7.5 isn't all that crazy. Throw in the fact that you have a taxed, San Fran bullpen and a pretty bad Baltimore bullpen. Maybe there'll be some runs. I know that we haven't really seen it out of the Orioles lately, and San Francisco actually looked pretty damn good in that series against the Cubs offensively, so maybe we see some runs in this one. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's slate. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, like I tell you guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, we got tons of stuff on the channel, including H2H, episode 1 of season 3 there. Tosses and I battle it out each and every week, go up against one another. You're not going to want to miss that week to week. Go check that out. We post the parlay of the day on the second channel. Make sure to go check out the second channel. Just search More Guy Boston Sports right here on YouTube. But that's it for me. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.